welcome back, everyone, to this week's Golden Wind Geekout. I'm your host, Danny. Got my co-host, Ryan, with me.
Hello.
And we have another special guest with us today. Don't know where Gigs is, but that's okay because we have a Brian.
Hey.
So Brian here, he's spent the past several weeks, I think it was, just binge watching all of JoJo. And literally a few days ago, he finally got caught up with Golden Wind. So it's like, oh, well, we got to get you in on this now.
Just to clarify, he binge watched JoJo a few weeks straight. He did not leave his room for the last few weeks until he was done with JoJo.
Yes.
Go outside.
I had a window open. It's fine.
I was like some fresh air and sunshine in my room. It's the same, right?
Yeah, seriously. I have a window. It's right here. I had it open.
Oh my god.
Breathe.
No, I'm good.
Alright. Okay. So we're going to talk about episode 35, the Requiem Quietly Plays Part 2. But I think suffice it to say, we're pretty much just going to spend this entire Geek Out just pretty much talking about Narancia here. Because, let's just face it, that is the highlight of this episode. Pretty much like what happened with Abakio.
My sweet summer child, no.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, okay.
Much like how everybody reacted to Abakio, the moment everybody saw Narancia leaving the group in a very, very hard way, every part of social media just blew up. Images are being posted on Twitter. I don't even want to know how Tumblr handled it. My God, don't even tell me. But yeah, suffice it as
I stay away from Tumblr for obvious reasons.
Yeah. That's why it's I don't want to know.
Tumblr tried to make porn of it, but the website wouldn't allow it.
It's like, he's 15!
Alright. Anywho, but, actually, I guess here's, a funny little segue. So, all last week, I was actually visiting my parents, and, while I was there, I had, brought my Switch with me, so I was playing some, Monster Hunter and shit last week. So, Ryan, he too recently got Monster Hunter. So there was a night where me, BJ, Ryan, and Brandon, all four of us, got together and we were playing Monster Hunter because, it's like, okay, we got to get Ryan to catch up, to where we are so we can, start, doing, heavy quests together. There was a point in the night where we were taking, a little bit of a break, and I forgot, somebody was getting something. But while we were on this break, I was also talking with Brian because he was in the middle of catching up with Golden Wind. And, Brian, do you want to tell the audience how you unintentionally spoiled yourself for this episode?
Okay, so Dana was asking me if I had any, notable favorite characters or whatnot, and I was trying to list them down. I put Mista down, I know I put Bruno there, and I also put Narancia there. He is my sweet summer child. He's a good boy. And I wanted to make sure that I spelt his name right, so I went to Google and I started searching up his name to be like, okay, so this is how we spell his name, and fucking Google decided, hey, let's autofill Narancia's death.
Oh god, yes.
Oh,
so it's like,
no.
Yeah, that's kind of how he unintentionally spoiled himself. That's why it's like, hey, I'm actually gonna pull up let me pull up the message. Oh yeah, he's like, yeah, I asked him that question, it's like, yeah, it's a toss between three, Bruno, Mista, and Narancia. I say, yeah, that seems to be the case with damn near everybody. And then it's literally a second later, he goes, okay, I'm so mad. I went to look up Narancia's name, so I made sure to spell it right, and one of the autofill results has Narancia death. Are you fucking kidding me? and my response was, ... Yeah, that's actually the next episode. God damn it! Fuck you, Google!
You know,
Oh my god.
all I gotta say is, Heaton, I now know your pain for when you were unintentionally spoiled by Critical Role.
Oh my god.
Because that happened to her too.
Oh Jesus. It's like, see, oh man, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The moment like a major character from JoJo dies, like every corner of the internet blows up.
Well, I know. Well, that was the thing. I was like, I mean, I kind of figured it would because I remembered when the week that when Abakio's death aired, Twitter was just flooding with Abakio fan art. And sure enough, the same thing was happening here. People are just posting, like mass posting, tons and tons of Narancia fan art. So it's like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Twitter was exploding with pics of Narancia passing on, you know, heading up to, like, drawing Narancia in the form of a cloud. It's like, oh, God, really, guys? I mean...
Yada, fuck my life.
I was seeing a lot of fan art of people posting, like, you know, Abakio and Narancia hugging. So it's like, God damn it, people. Why do you do this to me?
Why?
Stop it.
Okay, so I guess now it's time to really talk about just what did David Production add to this? You know, because it's like, so in the manga, I mentioned that, I know we talked about behind the spoiler tag, so for those of you who skipped that, so last week, one of the things that I was wondering was about Narancia's death. Was because in the manga, the same events happened, you know, King Crimson just, you know, erases time, shoves Narancia / Giorno into the bars, you know, so I mean, all of that is the same thing, happens in the manga too, but I mean, it's so quick, it's so sudden, and unlike Abakio, where, you know, we had time to really soak in his death, everyone had a chance to grieve. In the manga, not so much with Narancia, because they were under attack. So pretty much everybody else was just focusing on, oh God, where's the boss? Where's Diavolo? Because, you know, this was definitely King Crimson's work, but, you know, Trish didn't detect him anywhere. Nobody knew where the hell he was. And really, it looked like the only person that showed any kind of real sadness was Giorno. And that was actually something I was really wondering about is, you know, is David Production going to stick true with that? Or is David Production going to go out of their way to actually, like, you know, try to flesh it out a little bit more? And fortunately, they did. So it's like, thank you, David Production. You gave Narancia his time because, god damn it, he needed it. He deserved it.
Oh no, I am not liking that he is just...
I know, it's like, oh no. Oh no, you're focusing too hard on the Narancia right now. I don't like this.
Seriously, I don't like this. First, it started with the shot of Giorno just standing alone in an open spot. And now this? Oh no.
Oh my god!
Really? You had to throw in a freaking recap on the people who have died and left us? What the hell?
No!
Don't say that!
Oh no.
Shit. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't
Oh
remember.
god.
The bloody brooch. Oh god. I don't remember how this goes down.
Yeah,
I'm kind of freaking out a little bit.
Gnarly.
Oh no. Why? Just drop a bullet! No!
Like,
oh
yeah.
god!
It was like, yeah, it was
I forgot this happened!
Yeah, it was that quick and sudden. It was like you turn your back for 1 second, and it's like boom, he's on the bars.
No!
Oh my god, he's actually crying! He didn't even cry with a Bakio! What the fuck?
What?
Oh my god!
Yo!
And Giorno never cries! That's the thing! Because if you remember in the backstory, he learned as a kid crying is useless. Here he is fucking crying! What the fuck?
Oh.
Yep, that's
No!
it.
No!
Oh, God!
Oh my god!
Oh my god. Okay, at least they're showing people emoting! Fucking thank
Oh
you!
my god, even Trish! Oh my god! There's... Oh no!
Photo!
What?
This is new! This was not in the manga! This was not
This is new! Oh my god!
You do this to us!
What?
Wait, I was like, wait.
What's this? No. Wait, what?
Oh shit, that's the cloud that we saw Bakio in! Oh my god, he's so bad for Bakio! God
Oh my god! What?
Oh my god!
God, the symbolism is real in this! Oh my god!
Oh my god, David Production, thank you for treating this with the fucking respect it deserved!
Oh my god! Oh, my heart! My feels! Yo! I am mad at myself. I am not crying right now because after what happened with Abakio, I should be bawling.
Because with Abakio, they really drew that one out.
But even then, it's like, yo, the symbolism, the emotion from all the other characters. Oh my god, this is so sad yet done so well. He really did. No, I strongly agree. I mean, with the way they handle the symbolism with that moment throughout this entire part, it's like what surprised me even more was that I remember Danny like when she was initially like showing me the manga, and even just recently she reminded me that in the manga it's like, okay, yeah, obviously they show Naranja's death or whatever. But in the manga, they don't really show off all the characters, like showing so much remorse for his death, except for Giorno. Oh no, David Productions rectified that, and oh my god, you see everybody like being so sad and crying over Naranja's death. Like Mista and Trish's body, Trish inside Mista's body, Mista inside Trish's body, freaking Giorno, the one guy who normally doesn't cry, he was crying. It's like,
as he should.
The feels.
That's the one that got that's the one that got me, because if you remember when Abakio died, man, Giorno, he was clearly on the brink of tears, but he held those tears back for Abakio. Could not do it for Naranja.
No,
so that's where I was like, oh
not.
My god.
It's like,
yeah, so I remembered hearing that like people, and I guess maybe this is also part of the this is the fault of the bad translations that Part 5 used to have, but I think it gave people the wrong impression. Like Giorno, for a while, it looked like whenever I hear anybody saying, why they don't like Giorno, and one of the biggest things that they talked about is just, he's like completely emotionless. There's no personality to him whatsoever. And it's like, never mind the fact that that's fucking wrong, because there were moments where he showed emotion in the manga, but, even if you had your doubts in the manga, the anime sure as hell, they've been adding on to it, and, it's freaking great.
Yeah. Well, I feel like
really
emotion's
is.
just easier to convey with animation because you can actually make those expressions move compared to like a still image in a comic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Like
Right.
with the fact you can animate the emotions and what really, again, like much like how like they handled Abakio's death and such. Like earlier during this part, the voice acting definitely gets it. It's like again, like with Narancia, like just screaming and crying because he was wanting Abakio to still be alive, or he wanted Giorno to heal him back up when that it's impossible. And now the same thing happens here with Giorno like being an emotional wreck because now it's like, oh, it's like, oh man, like Narancia's body is now officially an empty shell, and then everybody crying, especially Mista when she was in Trish's body. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that was another thing that sold it for me. It's like, oh, it's so heart wrenching considering that, yeah, Trish and Trish and Narancia were really close, and and especially applies with Mista and Narancia or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I actually saw on Twitter, like, this was like a random post that, like, one of the accounts that I followed retweeted, and I was like, pretty interesting interpretation, because I never really thought of it this way. Like, this person was, talked about how during Abakio's death, Mista kept himself very composed. Like, was not crying or anything. And, the way that this person interpreted it was that, because if you remember when Narancia was having his freak out, he was like trying to like, cling on to Mista during all this. So this person interpreted it as Mista was trying to be strong for Narancia because he knows Narancia gets so emotional. Yeah. But now this is Narancia's death, and with Narancia gone, the most emotional person gone and everything, it's like there's no reason for Mista to hold back his tears this time around, because before he was holding up, the way this person interpreted it was like, yeah, he was putting up the brave face for Narancia. But now that Narancia died, there's no reason for him to put up the brave face anymore, and that's when they broke down. I honestly never thought of it that way until that person brought it up. I was like, that's actually a pretty interesting interpretation.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense when you really put it like that into that perspective. Yeah, I could definitely believe that.
Yeah. So then, okay. Another huge thing that David Production added to this whole moment, we actually saw Fugo. Because bear in mind, in the manga, after, when everybody parts ways in Venice, Fugo is out of the story completely. We see no glimpse of him whatsoever, and, believe me, that pissed me off. So, yeah, not this time around. Like, so we see, like, yeah, Fugo, he's just, like, walking down an alley, probably sulking and shit. And it's like, yeah, you see the shadow of, what looks like it's Aerosmith, but it's really a bird. You see the shadow go by, and, like, Fugo stops and looks up at the sky, and it's like, oh my god, you did not just do that. You did not just fucking do that.
It was so out of the blue. It's like, no, it's like, okay, all right, listen, suffice it to say, this is one of those many things that regardless if you read the manga before watching the anime, or if you're an anime-only watcher, nobody saw that moment coming with Fugo. I was floored in the best way possible when I see that, even Fugo, of all people, like, he could sense that something was wrong and that Narancia passed on. Considering how, like, even Narancia and Fugo were really close, before Giorno joined in on the group.
Yeah, like, arguably, Fugo and Fugo was the person that Narancia was probably the closest to, because Fugo was trying to tutor him and everything. So it's like, those two, even though they wanted to fucking kill each other every 5 minutes, they were very close.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's like freaking. It's like, yeah, Narancia and Mista were best buds, and it's like, yeah, Narancia and Trish were also really close friends, if only because Narancia like established, he could definitely relate to Trish, and all that good stuff. But no, yeah, out of everybody, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like we could already tell like way early during this part or whatever. It's like, yeah, Fugo and Narancia were Narancia was definitely closest to Fugo of all people.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we see the shadow, of Aerosmith, and we see that it's really a bird, and the bird actually flies into the little pile of clouds, directly above where Abakio died. So it's like, Narancia, yep, he's in the afterlife. He's with Abakio now. It's like, son of a bitch, David Production. They kept, again, not in the manga, that was added. So it's just like, oh my god. It's like, okay, you may not have dedicated, like, damn near the entire episode to it, like what you did with Abakio, but regardless, thank you for at least giving enough time to, like, really draw out the emotions and, like, actually let us grieve for this poor child, because we really got gypped out of that in the manga.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
way to punch us in the kidneys.
Yeah, so I guess, like, Brian, like, speaking as somebody who has not read the manga, that's like, how did you take all this, given the fact that, despite the fact that you had the death spoiled for you?
Well, you see, I got upset anyway, because Narancia was a very good boy to me, and then I saw Fugo come up, and I'm like, alright, you were a thing. And then and then it's like I saw him staring up into the sky, where, like, yeah, it did look like, well, yeah, I mostly know of it as, like, a little bomber, because that was the name it was changed to, but, yeah, I saw Aerosmith in the air.
Yeah.
And it's like, you saw the shadow, then it's like, then it turned into a bird that moved into the clouds. I'm like, no, why are you doing this to me? I already have season 4 of MHA ready to kick me in the nuts. I don't need this already.
It's like, see, I'm telling you, it's the way that David Productions, handles, like, the symbolism in moments like this. It really gets, like, the viewer, like right in the feels. I mean, again, this correlates to pretty much what we were establishing, with how they handled the Bakio's death, and even going so far back as, say, I would like to say, for that brief moment where we saw Avdol and Iggy pass on to the afterlife after Polnareff finished off Vanilla Ice, or go even back further, a more notable moment with Caesar's death near the end of Battle Tendency. It's like,
but yeah, it's like, oh my god, that's like, David Production is like, I love you, but why?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, no, I am grateful that David Productions had just enough time to give Narancia's death the dedication and time and moment it deserved, especially with all the stuff they added to it compared to the manga. But no, yeah, I too have to ask, once again, why do you have to do this to me?
It's like, is kicking us while we're down one of your kinks?
Oh, god damn it. You say that, Brian, but no, that's gonna turn into a meme all in itself. We have the guy in the white suit or whatever, like laying there on the ground, and then we have Narancia, Mista, and Abakio, like, kicking the guy while he's down. The guy in the white suit is pretty much the viewers. And then Narancia, Mista, and Abakio has David Productions and all that other shit. It's like, oh, god damn it.
David Productions Animator 1, David Productions Animator 2, David Productions Animator 3.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh God, yes. But yeah, it's like I think suffice it to say, yeah, Narancha's death. Thank you for giving it the time that it deserved. It was handled very well.
Very well, yes.
Yeah.
All right, so pretty much now moving forward. So yeah, with now that Narancha's dead, yeah, Giorno's back in his own body. He's the only one that's now back in his own body now, which is kind of odd when you think about it, because like, so wait a minute, Bruno died, Giorno healed him, but he's a walking corpse. Same thing happens to Giorno, but Giorno gets to live because main character.
Yeah. Well, it's like I also like to maybe think it's just because, like, since Narancia was the one who actually died, like, Giorno's soul, like, goes back to its appropriate body. Although, with that idea in mind, why is the turtle still alive?
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I guess maybe the Requiem thing kind of saved his ass, because that's like, because I would think, like, switch soul or not, the body itself still died.
Yep.
I mean, it's like that was the whole thing with going on with Bruno. So it's like that's where I'm just, and it's like, yeah, it's weird because it's like, yeah, in the manga, that's not what happens to Giorno. I mean, the boy lives. He's alive and well. So it's like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe it was either a mistranslation, but either way, until this gets sorted, I'm just gonna say Requiem just does whatever it wants.
Well, literally. Well, because okay, so as I mentioned last week, you're gonna see some more crazy shit happening because yeah, that's all Chariot Requiem is trying to do is keep the arrow away from anybody. So that's why everybody falls asleep was one thing. Switching the souls was another thing. Do not try to attack with your stand, because somehow it can literally reflect your stand back at you. So I mean, it's like if you try grabbing the arrow with your stand, it's like it literally like it will come out of somewhere. Like it'll come out of a wall or the ground, or it'll even come out of your own arm to deliberately attack you. So I mean, it's like that's just another thing that Requiem does.
And
there's still more to come. There's still more batshit insanity to come.
Well, it's like
yes.
it's like the usual meme goes by Nanomachine Son. I would like to make a proposal, Requiem Son. I mean, you know what? Stand users wouldn't be too out of place in Metal Gear.
Alrighty, so we see Requiem still doing the crazy shit. They pretty much realize that, okay, we can't attack it with the stands. That's not going to do us any good. If we try doing that, it's just going to go right back at us. And it's like, yeah, the episode literally ends where Polnareff is like, well, what if somebody who isn't a stand user tries to take the arrow? And it's like, okay, we can see at least he can touch it, which is, far better than what anybody else is able to do. But it's like, yeah, he grabbed the arrow, and now Silver Chariot's gunning for him. So it's like, that's literally how the episode ends.
Yes. See?
So it's like, so yeah, it's just more battle for the arrow. They're still trying to figure out, wait, what the fuck happened with King Crimson? How is King Crimson still here? And then Polnareff, he also brings up, the whole multiple personality theory, which, I know I brought this up back when Doppio was first introduced in the anime, and this was when they decided to show the backstory of Doppio and Diavolo. And it was like, you got that brief glimpse where it looked like, even like as a newborn baby, like, you had the weird eye colors that were like, his eyes went red when the baby blinked. And it's like, so wait, you're implying that, so Doppio and Diavolo were born together, which made no sense to me. And this is pretty much why. Because, like, as Polnareff said, like, what would usually cause this would be that, like, yes, somebody experiences some kind of a trauma that would rend the person's soul in two, and that's where the personality would ultimately develop. And this is where people had their theories about, okay, well, who was the original personality? Was it Doppio who created Diavolo, or was Diavolo the one that created Doppio? But, but that was kind of where we were going on, because we had this explanation. But the backstory in the anime kind of implied now that, well, that's not really the case. It's, they were born together at the same time. So it's like, that's where that weird little contradiction thing came up. And it's like, unless I'm just overthinking it.
I mean, Siamese twins?
I think so.
Yeah, that seems highly unlikely.
Yeah, so pretty much, like, so we got that, and then Polnareff, he also brings up, like, okay, where, how did, he's theorizing that the way King Crimson attacked. So, Polnareff kind of put two and two together that, okay, yeah, we're dealing with someone with multiple personalities. So, so in Bruno's body was actually Doppio. So it's like, well, okay, so now in that case, where's the boss? And, again, this is where the whole weird soul thing comes into play. It's kind of weird, but it's like, because Diavolo was always a part of Doppio's soul, but, when this whole Requiem shit happened, it was like, okay, Doppio and Bruno switched, but Diavolo, I guess because, main villain status or whatever, he's allowed to literally just say, okay, bye Doppio, it was nice, it was, we had a good run, but I'm going to somebody else now. So Diavolo's soul is pretty much like haunting somebody else's, and that's how he was able to use King Crimson. I don't know how that works, because it's like, I always thought that, like, Diavolo was a part of Doppio, so it's like, so why does he get to act separately? But it's probably because, main villain status.
It's like Diavolo is like, sorry, Doppio, I'm getting a divorce.
Yeah, really.
He's literally like, I'm sorry, Doppio, I'm leaving you.
Tired of you stealing people's stuff to make phone calls.
I'm not gonna lie. It really irritates me every time I hear you make that ringing sound.
So it's like, I'm filing for a divorce. You can keep the kids.
and whatever phone you have.
Wait, does that mean I can keep Trish?
He's like, what? No.
It's like, you can have the kids.
As you clearly saw, I tried to kill mine, so clearly I don't want it.
It's like, here, let me call my divorce lawyer. Like, God damn it, Doppio. It's like, God
now you got me doing it
again with this shit. Oh my God.
It's like, where is my divorce agent? Oh, right, he's dead. He shot himself in the face.
It's like, or maybe that was the guy that missed a shot. It's like, seriously, how did that cop just not? Why is his brains just not chunky salsa on the sidewalk? He took a bullet to the goddamn mouth. It's like, how is it that he's able to live?
I know. It's like no, seriously, that cop should have had the exact same fate as oh God, freaking what's his face?
Butterface?
Oh God. His name is eluding me for whatever freaking reason. The big guy who
Butterface McChunky Fuck.
That guy. You know, who killed himself with a banana gun. It's like
oh, Popo. I Oh, I thought you were referring to the guy that Mista shot up when to bring out Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, I mean, that works too. But yeah, no, I was thinking of Polpo. His name was eluding me. No, thank you. It's like no, it's like seriously, that cop should have the same fate. Should have had the exact same fate as Polpo, as if he was shot with a friggin' banana gun through the mouth. No, I agree. That made no sense.
That cop was a stand user.
Amongst other things that has happened in JoJo that made no sense. It's like, even I'm like, okay, I call foul.
Oh shit, it's like, okay, let's play around with that idea. Okay, so Popo survives the gunshot to the mouth. Everybody goes on like it's a suicide to just try to make, cover it up and everything. And then it's like, so what? So wait, so are you telling me now that it's like, Popo didn't really die from the gunshot wound? He died when, like, they had to cut his body apart in order to cremate him?
They cut him apart while he was still alive.
What's this Chocolata's doing?
Chocolata.
You deserve that 7-page beatdown.
Sorbet Enchilada. It's like Sorbet Enchilada was just not enough, was it?
Seko, did you take a picture of Popo's face as he was getting cut up? Ooh, 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 Yoshi!
I mean, and he did say himself, even God forgives murder.
It is true.
Oh,
it's man. Somebody draw that. Like, please, just somebody draw that whole scenario.
Oh man!
Like, you guys like to make weird AUs and shit. It's like, yeah, just go draw that out.
It's like, wait, it's like, oh, I survived the gunshot. I can tell everyone what's happened. Wait, why are there knives going at me? Oh my god!
Oh my, I can't believe I survived that gunshot. Truck just runs over.
No, steamroller.
Every other way that Popo had died because he survived the gunshot to the mouth.
No, you see, Ryan, instead of a tractor, he gets run over by either a steamroller or an ambulance.
Oh no. What are the odds?
Deja vu.
It's like, it's like, wow, really? That seems rather bizarre. It's like, Alright.
Alright, so I guess suffice to say, I'm trying to think, is there anything regarding this episode that we might have missed?
Oh man, honestly, I can't think of anything else. I am just waiting to finally see what will happen with how they're gonna get the arrow from Chariot Requiem. Cause it's like, seeing as how it has been, oh man, I would say like probably like a year or so since you last showed me the manga. It's like, much like how I actually nearly forgot like how Narancia, was taken out. A lot of this other stuff that's happening like during this ending, it's eluding me right now. So it's like, here I am like trying not to go back not going back to the manga or anything. But even then it's like I'm just sitting here like, wait, okay, I think I remember this happening, but how did this happen again? I forgot. So now I'm just waiting for the anime adaptation to show me what the hell happened with all that shit again, including what will happen with taking down the boss and such, whatever that moment comes.
Yeah.
Wonder what vehicle he'll get ran over with.
Alright, so then I guess Brian, yeah, so I know. Yeah, we have 4 episodes left, people. We are so close to Golden Wind being over, and it's like, I don't want it to end.
Neither do I.
But considering Yeah, but it's like, considering just how, you've pretty much seen the majority of it now and everything. So I guess, like, as an anime only watcher, like, yeah, what are you thinking of Golden Wind right now compared to parts 1 through 4?
I can definitely say, like, it's probably a contender for my third favorite part, because my first favorite part is still a toss between, like, parts 2 and 4. Like, those parts were, they were amazing. And part 3 is, yeah, not part 3, part 5 is definitely really having a great impression on me. Like, I like the ideas that they're coming up with. The stand abilities that they're coming up with are much more creative than the other parts. Like, that helps me get engaged. I mean, I guess my only kind of complaint is more so kind of with Giorno as a character. Like, he's not a bad character. I like him. It's just the rest of his posse just kind of outshines him.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when Giorno gets hardcore, like, that's definitely when he's the most entertaining. But it's like, in terms of, like, personality wise, I feel like everyone else just shines a bit above him better too, almost to the point where it almost ends up feeling like he's not that important despite being the main JoJo.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, because it's like, Giorno is very much important and shit, but it's like, it's like, yeah, to be fair, it's like, yeah, the other cast does kind of tend to outshine him. It's like, it's like, yeah, even like my top 3 characters, they're pretty much the same as yours, Brian. Like, Bruno number 1, Mista number 2, Narancia number 3. It's like, Giorno is like number like 4, possibly even 5 for me. So it's like, he's kind of right in the middle as far as main characters go.
Yeah, like, especially like compared to, like, again, say to like parts 2 and 4, where it's like I loved everybody, especially Joseph and Josuke.
Oh yeah. It's like, yeah, even as far as like main JoJos go, that's where it's like Giorno I think is probably like number 4 for me. Yeah. Like, my favorite is Josuke. Like, it's Josuke, Joseph, Jotaro, then Giorno. So
honestly,
it's like,
that's actually the same for me.
He's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, that's actually
he's
the same.
Kind of in the middle for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, then probably after Giorno, I'd have to say Johnny.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably say Jolene, and it's like, I really don't know what to make about part 8 Josuke, but it's still going. So things might change that'll make me want to bump them a little bit higher or whatever. But it's like, I really don't know what to make of part 8 Josuke right now.
Right.
Yeah. It's like honestly, I think I'm pretty much on the same boat when it comes to like my number 1 favorite JoJo. Like, as of right now, like before this part 5 anime is like finished or whatever, it's like, yeah, I think I would give my number 1 spot to Josuke. I would have given Joseph a higher spot too, like number 2. That's until I found out, even after all the cool shit that he's pulled off in parts 2 and 3, he ends up being a total digwad and cheats on Susie Q. Like, at some point during part 3, and they did, and it's like, wow, really? So even, wow, you seem like a pretty decent person until you pull that shit off. All right, wow, okay, right. That's cool. Now I guess, I don't know, but even then, like, regardless if Joseph even if that was a thing with Joseph or whatever, I was still probably to give my number 1 spot to my number 2 spot to Jotaro, because it's like, Jotaro, like, most people, he comes off as like the typical badass or whatever, but I don't know. Yeah. To me, Jotaro is a fucking badass, like, no doubt about that. That's why people like would compare him to like to how badass Kenshiro is in Fist of the North Star, because they kind of come off that same energy, as it were. But it's like, in regards to like JoJo protagonists or whatever, it's like, he acts like an ass a lot of times. But that is to say, he's not a complete and total heartless bastard. He's like, he has a very tough exterior, but deep down it's like, okay, guys, he has feelings.
Yeah,
And,
and you know, I feel like that's
and considering how he's like that, and yeah, on top of like the many memorable badass moments that he's had, is like, yeah, he's considered to me like one. Jotaro for me is like one of the more memorable JoJo protagonists, while Josuke, my number one pick, he's the most relatable to me.
yeah. Well, it's like the other thing too about Jotaro. The other thing too about Jotaro is like, you know, even then it's like, despite, you know, him being like, you know, that, as, you know, Screw Attack referred to him as a delinquent turned hero, is that in later parts, like in part 4, we do see a bit of him not being as much of a jerk to everybody, but a bit more stoic.
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah, it's like, and this is actually something like, especially when it comes to people when it comes to Jotaro, like, because I even remember, like, when the last time we were all together at MomoCon and we went to, like, you know, one of the JoJo panels there, and it was like, you know, I remember, like, you know, a lot of people seem to have the consensus that it's like, you know, people like Jotaro, but only when you brings parts 4 and 6 into consideration. If it's just Jotaro from part 3, a lot of people don't like him, and it's really just because he is, you know, stoic badass, and it's just like, you know, people, I guess, got tired of that. They liked, you know, what they were doing with him in parts 4 and 6, whereas, like, you know, yes, he's still very much a badass fighter, but they were actually, like, developing his character more. So it's like, that's really where, like, Jotaro probably gets the majority of his love nowadays, is just his character as a whole, not so much in part 3. It's just a shame that Jotaro barely wins his fights after part 3, but that's, I know, that's where it's like, that's kind of the thing that sucks when it comes to Jotaro. It's like, in part 3, he's a great fighter, and then it's like, in part 4, it's like he kept getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, well, you know what? He's still the one who sent David Bowie to hell, so get fucked.
I know, that's where it's like, I know, it's like, I say that because it's like, yeah, he nearly got killed by a rat. He got nearly blown up by Tiny Tank. And it's like, yeah, it's like, nah, Jotaro, he pretty much, he's the one flipping the middle finger to Kira in the end.
This is for your tank!
God.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to think, Brian, is there really anything else that you want to talk about, like Golden Wind-wise or anything?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, like, yeah, I do. I generally do like where it's currently going right now. Like, it's definitely a very fun arc to go through. And yeah, it's definitely drastically different about it, but that's honestly what makes JoJo so interesting, because, like, it's not always the same thing all the time.
Yeah, it's like you're going to get a brand new story, brand new set of characters, brand new tone. I mean, it's like, yeah, like part 5, it's like, yes, it does have its, you know, goofy moments. I mean, torture dance, for fuck's sake. But, you know, but overall, yeah, this is like one of like the darkest parts of JoJo, if not the darkest part. So, I mean, it's like, you know, you don't get too much darker than what you see here in part 5.
Which, I mean, honestly, I don't mind.
Yeah, righty then. Okay, so I guess with all that, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're not too upset and or pissed about Naranci's death. And we will see you all next week.
All right, see you guys then.
Google's getting canceled, by the way.
Congratulations, Google. You ruined Narancia. It's like, first YouTube, and now Narancia.